What's going on, everyone? Adam here, and this is What's Good in Riverside. And I will say, this is definitely the most interesting podcast before you guys have ever seen. So I'm super excited for this one. I will say this person that you guys will learn in the next 30 minutes or so is one inspiring woman. I follow her on Instagram. That's how we got hooked up. Thank you, Ernie Ramirez, for hooking us two up. But she's definitely inspiring. I'm super excited to let her tell the story of what she's doing. And we've only known each other for 2 days now, allegedly. And I'm already super impressed. So why don't you tell everyone, say hello, tell everyone who you are, and let's get into this.
Hi, everybody. I'm awkward. No, I'm just kidding. I can't say the next part.
No. No, you can't.
It's an inside joke between Adam and me now.
Yeah. And Adrian and her parents after this.
Yes.
We're sending that 1 minute clip to them.
I'm crying.
Yeah.
So my name is Aimee Boess. I am an education specialist. I have been through a lot medically. Majority of people that are close to me know. I created actually an Instagram for it specifically. And then because I got so busy pushing myself at work, I don't really use it as much. It's called Fit Chiari Warrior, but I'm usually on my other account. So I have a congenital brain condition called Arnold Chiari Malformation. And so obviously I was born with it. It is congenital. It's not hereditary. Nobody else in my family has it. It affects about every 1 in 1,000 people. So I'm that lucky one.
Perfect. You won the lotto.
I did.
Yeah.
I was actually a teller at Bank of America when I was feeling very ill, and later found out that I had a minor stroke. And the doctor looked at me when he was reviewing the MRI, and he said, well, you had a minor stroke, but that's really not your biggest problem. The biggest problem. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Don't old people have strokes? And he was like, yeah, but it's fine. You have this thing called an Arnold Chiari malformation. That's really the problem. You need to address this. And I was 22 at the time. And at about 18, I had started going to the doctor a lot and complaining about my head hurting. Please help me. My head hurts. They did MRIs, but in true Kaiser fashion, they didn't tell me that they thought it wasn't severe enough. So they didn't bring it to my attention. It was an outside doctor that was like, whoa, you have Arnold Chiari and you need to address this. It's a real issue.
Isn't that crazy that you're the second person that's been in this podcast room? My buddy Donnie, same thing happened. He was 35, had a stroke, went to Kaiser, and they were like, oh, it's a pinched nerve. Next day, couldn't walk.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, and I thought I was having another one in 2018, and I was at work. I refused to go in the ambulance, though.
Yeah. You're like, I'll drive myself, even though half my face ain't working.
Somebody took me.
Yeah.
But I was like confused, disoriented. But I mean, even the day when I was 22, I was crawling up the stairs at Bank of America. I was so sick and so weak, and nobody really thought to help me. So I just kind of fought through it, and that was my lunch break.
They probably just thought you were hungover.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I really don't drink. I'm not a big drinker.
Yeah, well, they didn't know that.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're like, look at this girl, 22 and hammered.
Yeah, she's like showing up to work. I'm going to have to let her go.
I actually slept through my lunch break, and then I went back, finished the rest of my shift, and then when I went to the doctor, that's when...
Did you get Employee of the Month after that?
You know what?
I mean, working with a stroke, come on.
I didn't, but I got Most Infectious Smile.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Right?
That's the one that you want to get in the yearbook, you know what I mean?
Small wins.
Yeah, small W's in the world. So at 22, you're faced with this crazy disease or this brain situation that you didn't know about. What was your mind at that point, thinking, and what was kind of the direction they were telling you,
Well, I went from working 3 jobs. I was taking care of kids, working at the bank, and then I was also cleaning houses and going to college. And I was just trying to survive like most college students are. So they said, do you want to go on disability or do you want to keep working? And I was like, I'm going to keep working. Duh.
Yeah.
So then I was there at work and everybody's like, are you okay? And it was like, I don't think I am. I also forgot to mention I was prepping for a pageant and I had a personal trainer and he put too much weight on me. So he put about 120 pounds on my shoulders and it exacerbated the condition. So that's kind of like hindsight is 2020 type thing where we figured that out later. But I went from functioning, doing all those things to sleeping 20 hours a day. I had to move home. My parents essentially had to become my advocates and care for me. I I was on, I would say like 6 different medications a day. And then I got to the point where it was like, this is trash. This isn't working. I had doctors tell me, I won't touch you. This is unheard of. Some doctors still refuse to say that I had a stroke because they said you're too young. I was given psych tests and essentially told that I was lying about the severity of my condition. Let's see what else. I was given psych tests. Oh, I was told you're too pretty to be this sick. And I mean, I think my mom was in the room for that one, and we both were just like, what? What? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you have to be ugly and ill.
Well, that's a new doctor.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I was obviously not doing well. My mom said, she's sleeping 20 hours a day. I would get this terrible crawling sensation and I would have to go to sleep because it was so unbearable. It felt like ants were crawling in my face and my joints and like my knees, my ankles. So I did. I really just kind of like slept my way through it until I found Dr. Juan at Kaiser. Shout out to Dr. Juan.
You were just bashing Kaiser. Now you're up. Now
hey,
it's all about
you know
Kaiser.
what though? God bless him, because he actually came from Loma Linda. He had left Loma Linda due to politics, apparently. And then he was a pediatric surgeon, and he said, well, you're small enough and you're young enough that I'm willing to do it. And so when he came into the ICU after I had the surgery, he said, you're a very brave young lady. You knew that something was very, very wrong with you. And none of the MRIs showed how severe it was. And the fact that you were willing to say something's wrong, I need help, and stand up for yourself, you're very brave for doing that. You did the right thing. And he said you could see the dent in my brain. So essentially what they did was they took out about 1.5 inches from the back of my skull. So they cut it out, and then they cauterized the bottom of my brain. And if phones were as cool, then as they are now, I would have been like, take a video.
Yeah.
Because I want to know, like, how many people are like, that's my brain.
Yeah. So basically what she had was her brain was too big for her skull.
And crushing my spinal cord.
Yeah.
Oh, and I still black out.
To this day?
Mm-hmm.
She's never driving me around.
I don't black out like if I'm seated, but you could see it when it happens. Like if I'm in a squatting position and I come up, I'll just stop. And I mean, sometimes like I don't even continue my conversation. Mm-hmm. So I'm very cautious in how I proceed. There was a time when I think I was about 18, so I still lived at home. I think I was in my senior year of high school, and I blacked out. Oh, sorry, not angry, just clumsy.
Wow.
Aggressive.
Yeah, aggressive over here. She's getting fired up.
I'm like, I'm mad.
Yeah.
No, I blacked out, and I fell into the sliding mirrors of my closet, and I woke up with my mom and my sister Keely over me going, like they were laughing, actually. They thought I was joking because I joke around so much, but I was not joking. So I started crying because it was like, why am I on the floor looking up at them?
I've only blacked out once, and that was 18.
Really?
Yeah.
From?
I don't even know. Like I was in a hot tub, and then I got done, and then I like went to the kitchen. I wasn't feeling right. I went to the kitchen, get some water, and I don't remember anything after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. See,
one time.
I eat high sodium things to keep my blood pressure up.
Oh. So you went from 22 having brain surgery, right?
Yes. Well, being diagnosed 23, I had brain surgery.
23. Mm-hmm. Okay. So after you kind of had this life-changing event, did your outcome in life change at all? Now that you're like, had a second chance or, whatever you were thinking?
Interesting. I would say yes. Mm-hmm. I would say it kind of...
Did you slow down a little bit? Because you were working 3 jobs, going to college, being did you all of a sudden you're like, yo, let me kind of enjoy the moment for a minute?
You know what? I pushed myself to go back too quickly. So like the first month that you have brain surgery, you can't drive.
I would hope not.
Yeah, you can't turn your neck, to be honest. It's so severe, the pain. And it really weakens your muscles. It took me years before I could do my first push-up again. Mm-hmm. And that was like such a triumphant moment for me. I did my first pull-up, I think, 2 summers ago.
I still can't, so you're beating me on that.
Well, I had set a record in middle school. Again, I'm a dude.
You're a dude.
I'm just a dude.
God, there's so many things I want to say right now that now that we're recording, I can't. Continue.
Oh, thank you. So yes, I'm very optimistic. I think it also kind of showed me that my intuition is right. I know what's best for me, but also I can get through anything, essentially. I mean, thank God for my family being there. My condition was so bad that the surgery was supposed to be about 4 hours, so 4 to 6 hours, but it lasted, I think, over 8, they said. Obviously, I was asleep. But, I mean, it was a game changer, and they said, you're taking a risk by having this surgery. We don't know if it's going to actually help you. And I said, I have no quality of life at this point. I would rather gamble and try than live my life like this. And so I woke up in the recovery room and my mom said, how do you feel? And I said, so much better. But what's crazy is the same year that I had the surgery and my brain surgeon said, like, oh, you're the poster child of the surgery. This went so well. This is the best that it could have gone. Because my new neurosurgeon, he's like, oh, yeah, no, I would definitely tell you not to have this surgery. And he said, I've done it on people and they said they're worse. So really, I don't know if it was luck or God's grace, but I mean, I am better. But the same year I had the surgery, a lady ran a red light, hit me, totaled my car, and it was on my side. And I do remember hitting my head on like the panel of the car, not the actual window, but the panel. And yeah, she said, honey, you weren't paying attention. And she ran the red light. I was like,
yeah.
What? So that destroyed it. And they told me you would need another brain surgery, but it's too invasive. We can't do it right now. So I suffered for a really, really long time because of that. And I still have headaches. Not every day is a good day. And I joke and it's like, oh, I'm having a bad brain day. So most people don't have one Arnold Chiari brain surgery. They typically have more. I think if I hadn't been in the accident, I could stick with the one. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll be able to avoid the second. I don't know, because I'm crusty like that. Yeah. So it has...
Other words come to mind right now? Well, crusty's not, I don't know.
I know. Trying to.
Yeah. Yeah. So at 23, you get on this, or you know, you were going to school, you're doing all that. What job did you go back to? Were you still working at the bank? Were you still doing?
No, I started working at Macaroni Girl in Redlands with my sister Keely. She and I were both working. I did push myself to go back too quickly, I think, because I started working and serving by May, and I definitely had to say I can't carry this much stuff. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't carry a case of water bottles. I was directed to not carry any weight, but being who I am, it was like I almost tried to hide or overcompensate. I don't know. I just pushed myself. Mm-hmm. So I did go back to school.
So where were you going to school at the time?
RCC.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got 2 classes under my belt there.
I had one guy, I did all the work and he told me, you didn't show up enough. I'm going to give you a C. And I said, well, I'm going to take it to the dean and I'm going to show my work and how I didn't get C's on those. You don't have the right to do that. And he was like,
I think I might go back to RCC actually.
Really?
Yeah, when it opens back up. I really want to do that.
What are you going to get your degree in?
I'm not. I just want to go and listen and go to the teacher and just only take classes I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Just to sit there and literally go to the teacher the first day and be like, listen, I'm not going to do any homework. I'm not going to take a test. I'm not going to even buy a book. Don't ever call on me. If you call me, I'll just walk out.
Yeah.
I said, I'm just here to listen.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm so nerdy like that too. Like, sorry, that's name calling you.
I know.
But I'm like that. Like, I really am like, oh, give me more information.
Well, because it's like I'm only going to go to stuff that interests me anyways. So yeah. What's the difference to me like listening over here or like watch, like it'll force me to do it. That's why I'm reading my 45 books this year. Because I was reading a lot of books, and then the last 2 years, I just got off of it.
Because you weren't reading books that interest you?
No, I just kind of got burnt out in reading. You know what I mean? Because I read a lot of I'll be frank, a lot of my books are business books or whatever, and a lot of them are fluff. You know, a lot of them don't have a lot too much in them. You know what I mean? Like I always say, if I can pull one thing out of a book, it's great. But so this year I'm no, you need to get back into reading books, not wasting time on YouTube.
Yes.
Don't be I don't watch Netflix.
Interesting.
Yeah.
YouTube. What are you watching on YouTube?
Everything.
That's dominating your time.
I only watch YouTube. I don't watch anything else.
Really?
100%.
Wait, for shows?
No, like podcast clips or something I'm interested in. Or
okay, I do like podcasts though.
Yeah.
Who do you like watching their podcasts?
I'll watch Rogan, and then
I love that he cusses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's Rogan, and then there's a guy named
Ed Milet?
I like Ed Milet. I don't watch a lot of his stuff, but I do like Ed.
Yeah.
I like his style. I watched this one guy, just got into it. He's a big insurance guy. I just read his book. His book was whatever. He's like a Middle Eastern guy. I like his style, but his is more like topics of like what's going on in the world.
Okay.
So I like listening to that. And then like I'll go down some rabbit holes. I'll watch like some chiropractor videos. I love chiropractor videos. Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
That's
love chiropractor videos.
Boom left field. What?
Yeah, I love chiropractor videos.
What about them? The cracking of the back?
No, just like I don't know, like just like the like I don't know. I can't explain it.
I'm like,
it's
Dr. Pimple Popper?
No, I don't like those at all. Never. But chiropractor videos, way in on those.
Funny. I've never watched a chiropractor video.
You're missing out.
I definitely have watched some Dr. Pimple Popper.
No, I'm out on that.
I'm in.
I think it's a woman's thing. Men do not like.
It's so fascinating.
Men do not. So this is a future note. She also pokes people in the face all the time.
Well, no, I don't poke people in the face. Yeah. I would like to poke people in the face.
The plan is 5-year plan.
Yes, the 5-year plan. Get a second master's in nursing and put needles in people's faces.
Perfect.
And make them feel beautiful.
Yeah. You're helping people's confidence.
Yeah, 100%. That book that you had said you wanted to read, it talks about how you're not born with confidence.
No.
What is it?
What is it? How to Think Bigger? No. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I think confidence is what separates everyone.
Well, they say you're not born with it.
I think confidence is.
Oh.
I literally think confidence is what separates from people being amazing to not.
I could see that. In what way?
In the way of just like believing in yourself so much.
That's what he says.
That you have to, like, what people don't realize is that like the stupid memes that you see on Instagram and the whole like the iceberg and its success and everything below it and whatever. Yeah. That's the hard thing is people see successful people and they think, oh, they have it so easy, or like you do not. I was talking to someone last night about it. A CEO, yes, they might not do the day in and day out task, right? They might not be pushing paper or making calls or whatever.
Right.
But they have to make all the major decisions.
True.
So when you make a major decision that costs you or investing money or whatever, or is going to hire people, change the direction of a company, just a logo change, a team, the stress that you are under and have to believe in yourself so much when you pull that trigger, like this is what we're going to do. And to be a true leader, people only lead the confident.
True.
Right? They don't lead.
Because if somebody tells you in a meek manner, you're just like, oh, yeah, we are so screwed.
Like if you had a tour guide and you're in the freaking mountains and they're like, I think we go this way, you'd be like, oh God, we're lost, right? But like, hey, we're going this way, and you'd be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
So confidence is what separates everyone. It is
True.
what parents and teachers and everyone should be building up with people is confidence.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. One of the books that I just read by Brene Brown, she talks about how things that you should be taught in school are things that are not taught. And it's essentially like how to be compassionate and empathetic. And yeah, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so true.
For
because
sure.
they're not skills that you're just born with.
No.
You're taught those things, just like being confident in yourself.
And that's what I think. And the problem with people don't get is the world pulls confidence from you.
Oh, I could see that.
You know? Mm-hmm. I mean, and all of us, it's, you can't do that. That's too hard, right?
Yes.
That's impossible.
You know what? That's why when kids are like, I want to be a rapper, I'm like, good, because we are learning new words. And if you are going to be a rapper, you're going to need a lot of words in your vocabulary. Let's build them up. Let's go. Yeah.
So confident, like, seriously, I think parents take away more confidence from the kids than they'll ever realize.
True, and I think it's because they're fear of failure, and they don't want their kids to feel rejected or unloved or as a failure.
So the question is, do you think, we're both not parents, but do you think it's the aspect of the parent is worried about their children failing, or do you think they're scared of how they look if their child fails?
Ooh, you know what? I think
it's the second one.
I know.
I think it's the second one.
I hate to say it, but I do think it has a lot to do with image, right? Yeah, because 100%. If Betty Joe and
first off, who's
George,
Betty Joe?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking
we're in
like
the South.
Well, because you know what? Yeah. That would be where my head went. Yeah. Because if the other family's kids are succeeding and they're doing well in this area, and then all of a sudden your kids come in, they're like, I'm going to try and do the same thing. but then they fail. Then the parent feels like they failed because their kid failed. You know what I mean? Like they're taking on the failures. Everybody, I think that's the other thing, right? Like sometimes in life we take on the burden of other people's, like whatever it is that their deficit.
So I've been having powerful women on here, and that's why you're on here. And if you forgot, but do you ever struggle, like we've been talking to a lot of people like social media, right? Because you're a woman and because you have to a lot of us put this perception out there, and it's almost impossible to live up to whatever is online. Do you struggle with that as a woman?
In what way? Like looking at other people's content?
Yeah, maybe looking at content or like...
I feel like I don't struggle with that, but I will tell you why. I don't think I spend a lot of time on social media. I don't compare myself to other people, especially knowing like for myself, I work over 50 hours a week. But yet I've also been through more than a lot of people have been through. So I guess I don't compare myself because some people, that's their job.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't feel that pressure. I think truly the only person I'm in competition with is myself. And that's my outlook. And that's why I push myself, because only I have been through what I've been through. And my situation is so unique. I mean, I've had people say like, oh, let's train together. And for me, it's like, I don't want to train with anybody else and then have them hurt me. Not purposely. Like I had a guy come up to me at the gym one time. I was at
Which I don't understand, but continue.
No, he was one of the managers and he was like, he was training another guy, sales guy. And he said, we're going to talk to her. You look like the hardest person to talk to in this room. And I was like, I probably am. Yeah. Like, I'm so awkward. Like, just don't talk to me. Leave me alone. And so he said, yeah, well, I mean, you obviously know what you're doing. You're in great shape. And I said, thank you. And he's like, well, let me give you some suggestions. This is what you should be doing. And I said, so let me ask you, is that based on your knowledge of the fact that I have a brain condition and I have to be very cautious?
Dude, otherwise, you know, that's bullshit. You have that cop out whenever you want.
You know what, though? Him. Sorry.
You're all right. You're at that.
Yeah, it's like, no, like you don't know me. You don't know who I am. You can't. I think I've struggled with that because nobody has the right to tell you what is best for you. They can give you suggestions or like, have you tried this? But don't tell me what's best for me. See, strong woman thing. Yeah.
Well, I think the hard part with society nowadays is that a lot of people actually don't know a lot lot of people, even though they think they do.
Because on social media, they know them. We talked about that in college when I was getting my communications degree.
So look at why do I have to go to college? You know what I mean?
I know, it's true.
But that's the thing. I think that a lot of people, you think you know a lot of people, but you truly don't.
Agreed. Because maybe like on social media, I look like
you have an image. I have an image.
Interesting. What's my image from a male perception? I want to know.
I think that you put out you have some reason to be pushing out a lot of motivational stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're always like perceiving as like not like even like your gym photos aren't like not like sexually, right? Because that's what women normally like gym girls go to is like the side with the boot. You know what I mean?
Oh, funny.
Right? Like yours is like. You showing abs, right? You're like, listen, homie, it's like, this is where it's at.
Work hard, right?
Because you can't fake those. You know what I mean? You can't work an angle on an ab.
Yeah.
So I think that's something. And then I always see you like posting like quotes, right? You're a big woman strong quote person.
I'm a really big bookworm.
Yeah, you are. You're a nerd.
I'm a nerd.
So, but I think that's the perception you is based on, I would say, your real life perception, what I've already met you in this last day or so, and the conversation we have is like, people would maybe be shocked by who you truly are, but your deep core is what you show online. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah, I could see. Like I truly want the best for everybody.
Your core online is who you are.
Yeah.
Right. You just don't show like, which I think is great. You don't show everyone who you all are.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, like the fact, like that means a lot to me. Thank you. Actually, the fact that you said that my content isn't sexual to me, it's like I'm hardworking. I have a big brain. I have a big heart.
Yeah.
I truly want the best for people. Like one of the quotes on my vision board for this year, it says, "There's not a hint of mediocrity to you."
Yeah.
And that's truly how I feel. Like I try to push myself in every area to prove to myself that no matter what I've been through, it's my reason to succeed, not my reason to fail or have an excuse. So my excuses are actually, you know, I could say, oh, well, I have a brain condition, I can't do it. Well, I've had a stroke, I mean, I can't do it. And it's like, no, my excuse is my greatest reason to succeed and be like, look, I can do it. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. In the book that you said to read, it talks about that too.
Well, I think that's an interesting thing, like going back to like my buddy Donnie who has a stroke. Like, you know, he's 35 and he goes from like being a human being to like now he can't use half his body, you know, and people telling him he's never going to walk again. Yeah. You know, and it's like, and then it went from he was just a bartender, you know, to then he like went to college, graduated, has done speaking engagements, wrote a book.
Oh, I would love to do that. That's so cool.
You know what I mean? And it's like a guy who he could have easily gone the other way.
Yes.
And found excuses.
Yes.
He like his life has improved because of his disability now.
Yes.
And so I think it's interesting. The people that have gone through something and have succeeded are the ones like, you can do it.
Yes.
Because they've done it.
Yes, exactly. I think it's, for me, I made a choice. Everything is a choice, really. And one of the quotes that I had posted recently was, like, small choices daily turn into like your future or who you are or whatever, which is so true, because even like being here with you, right? I don't know what that's going to bring. And it's very hard for me to be vulnerable. Well, one of the books that I've read is Brene Brown. She talks about the power of vulnerability. But I think it's important for people to know that it's okay to be true to who you are, and it's okay to go through struggles and to make something beautiful out of something so ugly. Because if you can't, what hope do you have going through such hard things?
I think the thing is that when you finally, I mean, a quote that Steve Jobs once said was, our lives are full of dots and we don't know what they line up to until we look backwards.
Yes.
Right? And it's like, even there's too many moments in your life when you're actually going after things where you're going to hit failure.
Yes.
And then you're like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me again? Why, like, when am I going to get my break? When is this going to, like, when are the storm going to come off me? And then you get there, or something happens that you weren't even expecting. Yeah. And the only reason you were in that position was because of every bad thing that happened to you. Yeah. And you're like, dude, thank God that all those bad things happened. And I think that's the thing why, like, nothing phases me now.
You literally brought tears to my eyes too. Like, it's true. Yes.
Like, nothing phases me anymore, because it's like, this isn't the end.
Right.
It's just the path to where I'm going.
Yes.
And I'm going to have to, it's not going to be a flat road. It's going to be bumpy.
Yes.
And if you want to do things in life that are above average, it's going to be bumpy.
Yes.
It's just going to be. And if you want the flat, soft road, then then live the average life with no goals, and then you might not be fulfilled. But if that fulfills you, like if Netflix every night watching your favorite TV show does, or your chiropractor videos on YouTube, whatever your choice is. Whatever your vice is. Listen, don't judge me. To each its own. And I think that's the other thing too. When people probably meet you or meet me, they go like, oh, if you're not working 50 hours a week, if you don't have like vision boards or goals, or it's like, nah, dude, to each its own. Do you, bro?
It's my first vision board, I gotta say.
I've never done one.
Oh, really? It's pretty cool. My friend was doing one last night, and I was like, girl, I'm so tired. And I wanted to go so badly, because she's like, you can never have too many visions, or, you know, have it be too big. And that's like what that book that you suggested is talking about too. Like, dream big, be bold, ask for the greatest, and you will get it. We
deserve greatness. You just have to ask for it.
Yes. See, and I think that's the confidence
That's
thing.
The sky level. Like, literally, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I don't know why it made me think about jumping out of an airplane. Have you ever done it?
Which I will never, but yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't like
Put your big boy pants on and jump. It's so cool.
I don't like roller coasters.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, there's something about jumping from a perfectly good airplane. I didn't tell my parents till after I did it, and I came home.
There's a lot of things you need to tell your parents.
I was like, I got
There's a few other items I could think of right now you need to tell them too.
Can anybody see this?
There's a few other. We'll schedule a call after this intervention.
Terry and Susie, I love you, and I'm really sorry.
Yeah, exactly. The address is 3685 Main Street here, just so everyone knows.
Oh, my soul. That is so funny. Yeah.
So I think that's the interesting thing. That's why it's like, I wouldn't change anything for the world, you know, because it's like, I love the story that you get to tell.
Yes.
And the reason why I wanted to have you on this podcast is because it's like, we can inspire so many people, and there's a lot of inspiring stories out there that aren't famous people.
Interesting. That's so true.
There's so many great stories that people live every day that no one ever hear about.
My friend told me choose your hard as we started off the year together, and we were doing like an accountability journal entry on January 1st. Shout out to Jessica. I love you. Yeah. And she said, you know, like no matter what in life, because like one of our things too is like following Dave Ramsey and following his steps, and just there's so many things as a human being to take steps towards greatness, and you have to choose your hard. And so she was like, choose your hard for 2021. And I just feel like it's been such a rewarding moment for me. That's what brought tears to my eyes when you were talking about like it's so hard for so long, and then all of a sudden you look back and you see it. So I mean, I was told you'll never even get your bachelor's, you might as well stop now. Well, screw the lady at Santiago Community College who told me that, because not only did I get my bachelor's with a certificate in mediation, I also got my master's with 2 teaching credentials, and I'm working my way up. And I'm very proud of getting through that, because I do have a learning disability because of my severe brain trauma that I've gone through.
Let's stop using that one already. That one's already worn out.
You know what? One of my best friends, Marianne, was like, you get to play this card for 1 year that and that's it. Yeah. But I legit struggle to retain new information. So whereas like maybe I wouldn't typically read a book numerous times, I will read a book numerous times just to retain the information.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great thing to hear, because it goes back to confidence.
Yeah.
Right? If you didn't have the confidence, you would have shut down.
Okay, and then choose your heart. It makes me think about like, well, I could buy new pants, or I can make myself fit in my pants that I already have. So I have to choose my heart, because I love dessert. I love Yogurtland. Like, if I honestly posted how much I eat it, people would probably be appalled.
Listen, you give me a chocolate chip cookie and vanilla ice cream, I will go to a house. My parents earlier, I was showing houses. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm on my way back to the house. They're like, hey, we're going to BJ's. You want to stop by? I'm like, no.
I used to work at BJ's, and I'd be like, what's that? You messed up.
Yeah, thank you. And they're like, we'll treat. And I'm like, Mom, I am on a diet.
Yes.
Give me 12 weeks.
Temptation is real. You got to choose your heart.
I'm like, I was like, sorry, I have Greek yogurt in the back of the truck right now.
It's a hard pill to swallow.
I got to go home and put it in the fridge, right? I got some frozen fruit. And I'm going to have a snack of frozen fruit and some honey. I'm going to treat myself right now. And it's like, no, like I've committed to this for Bully Bandit, like for his cause.
Yes.
And like, I want to donate as much money to that guy's charity. Yeah. And he's training me, and I'm going to give 100% to him.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like, so people need to realize, like we've been talking about like motivational stuff and vision boards, but I will tell you this, the number one thing is you have to take action.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because
you have to show up.
I do have people that are like, I want to look
That's my
like
number
you.
one pet peeve. Hope you know that.
Where people don't follow through,
when they say
like, I want to be like you.
They want to bitch about something and they don't ever make any changes.
You know what? I struggle with that too, because it's like,
that's why we're not friends already.
It took me years to get to where I am, convincing myself like, you can do this. I mean,
did you have a group around you? When this was all going on, like your circle of people around you, what was that vibe? Was that like, you can do whatever you want, or like, hey, slow down a little bit, you'll be okay, it's all right?
I definitely have people that tell me like, you should slow down, but
back in like when you're 23.
I feel like I lost majority of my group because I was living in Ventura County, and I was like actively singing in a church, and I moved from Ventura County to Riverside County to live with my parents so they could take care of me. And so I feel like I lost majority of my friend group. And I was kind of isolated, to be honest. Yeah. And then I would say I didn't really start my determined fitness journey until years later, and it was very slow. And I was living in Orange County, and that's like majority of my friends now. They're all in Orange County, and they're I would say positive advocates, like work out with me, and I have an amazing friend group. I think that's why, like, I'm okay being single because I get to be with them and I get to enjoy their families and I get to help them with their kids, and I have my family, and I have such a strong relationship with not only my family but their families. My friends have become my family. So I think that's why for me to like bring anybody new into my life is a huge deal.
Yeah, because you're entering that.
Yeah, because it's like these people mean everything to me, everything. So if you get to meet them, I think you're really cool.
Yeah,
you know?
If I ever get married, my wife will meet my mom the day before I get married.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Two things. I don't want my mom to screw it up, and two, I don't want any other factors.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if my mom likes you. I don't care. Like
I
trust myself so much and what I believe and who I trust.
Yes.
That it's like I don't need other factors pulling. Like, well, I don't like her. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Right.
Like I'm a grown person. I know exactly what I'm looking for.
Boundary.
Yeah. Check.
Yeah. Like.
Right?
Sorry, not your deal, because they're not going to live in your house.
So you brought this up. You're 35, right?
Yes.
You're a hardworking woman.
Yes.
And obviously, life pushes in women harder than men about getting married and having kids. How are you handling that? And was that an issue for you when you were maybe 30?
You know what? I definitely have cried about it. And I definitely have gone between like, I want to have kids, to, I don't know. I mean, I live a pretty sweet life.
I mean, you have 2 dogs. I mean, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, shout out to Scout and Zeus. I love you guys. I have 2 German Shepherds. No, I know you're going to tease me about it. But yeah, I
have 2 corgis, so we're like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I have like big, giant, massive, those are the men in my life.
Well, I guess my dogs are the women then. And
it's like I carry a knife and I like guns and I have like a happy life on my own that I'm sure my parents are like waiting for me to have kids because my sisters don't have kids. And I was always the one that was like, I'm going to have them. So I do feel a little bit of pressure in that sense. But for some reason, like right now, I definitely feel like the more that I accept where I am, the happier I am. I feel like 2020 was so hard for me and so miserable. And I think a lot of it had to do with working a typical 60-hour work week. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hits and I'm not commuting and I'm stuck inside and I'm isolated. I mean, that was probably one of the hardest things I've been through. Whereas like now I feel like I've adjusted to it. But I don't know. I'm happy with my station in life right now because I feel like this is my time to grow. And there's obviously a reason that I don't have a spouse. There's a reason I don't have kids. There's something in me that needs to grow. And I'm excited to figure out exactly what it is and work on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we had a lady in here, I'm going blank on her name right now because I've done so many podcasts, who's a mom life coach. Helps with mothers.
Wow.
And she even said, she's like, I wish there was a law that you couldn't get married before 27.
Interesting. I could see that.
Because she's like, technically until you're 27, you still have your brain is not fully developed.
Yep.
Right? And she was saying, she's like, a lot of the issues happen because you're young and you don't have your life together yet and you don't know who you are. And then you add in other factors like children and it only makes life harder.
Yeah.
She's like, I wish that they could be that way. Like,
yeah. See, my mom had all of us by 30. So, and there's 3 of us. And I was the last one. I'm essentially like my mom's little twin, just 30 years apart.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine, as much as I think it would be an honor to be a mom. I would love that. But I just can't imagine being a mom right now. And maybe that's because I don't have that person in my life that I know that I could rely on.
Yeah.
So would I love to? Yes. But I'm not willing to compromise on raising children and who will be raising them with me and what they see, because I think that's such a huge play in raising children. Like they need to have a good example. They need to know how a woman should be treated. And so
that's what I never understand with women and men, to be honest. It's like women that are in bad relationships. It's like, okay, if you have a daughter.
Yeah, do you want her to see this?
It's not that you have to see it, but how do you, if that same thing happened to her one day, how can you ever say anything to her about it? Mm-hmm. You did the same thing.
I know.
I don't ever understand that. It's like when you're in a terrible, listen, obviously things change, but it's like when you realize you're in one.
Yeah.
How do you not just walk away? You know what it is?
What is it?
Confidence.
Interesting. I don't know.
100%.
I had a hard time when I was living in Alaska, and it wasn't from lack of confidence. I owned a home.
But
My
your
name was on the
situation was
title.
different. You were like in Alaska, like
isolated,
no friends, no family, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
You're in Alaska. Like, it's not like you're in like.
And he was very highly skilled and trained.
Yeah, exactly.
So I waited till I came.
I'm
to
worried
visit.
that he's gonna find me.
Dude,
find us here.
I've had nightmares still.
I believe it.
Yeah, like PTSD is real. So I definitely, that was like by my mom and dad's grace that I was like, this is what's going on. And my dad was like, you're not getting on the plane.
Yeah.
So I essentially walked away from a life that I knew. And it wasn't from lack of confidence. I think it was because I love people so deeply, and this is why I am who I am. I see the absolute best in people, and it has definitely screwed me. And so, but also like the book that you suggested, he does talk about that. See the best in people. I'm like, well, I mean, geez, I don't know. Am I doing the right thing? Am I not doing the right thing?
Well, I would say, if I would give you any advice for anyone out there, the number one person in this world is, you know who?
You.
Yourself.
Yeah.
No one will ever affect me. Sorry. Like, I am number one.
Yeah, that's where I needed to grow.
I don't even care if I have a wife, kids, whatever. Myself is the most important thing. Because if I'm happy, then I can support them and make them happy.
Yes.
But if I'm miserable and I'm not, it's going to reflect to them.
True. And you know what, even in my job, I see that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why for me, it's like, okay, my mental space is so valuable because I've been through so much already, not only physically, but just like for that example, emotionally, that I need to protect myself because it inhibits my ability to serve others. And I feel like that's why I'm here. Like, I really do feel like my job is to help others and let them see the best in themselves. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I mean, that's why it goes back to the whole, like, I don't know, I'm pretty happy where I am.
I'm telling you. I think you just can't, it's just no reason to force anything.
Agreed.
Whatever happens is going to happen.
Agreed.
And if you force it, you're doing it, it's not meant to happen in this moment in time.
Yeah, definitely. You know? Like, there's mantras about like letting go or whatever. So it's like, yep, that's, if it's meant for me, it'll find me. Yeah, anything meant for me won't miss me.
There you go. But you got to be looking for the opportunity or it'll pass you right by.
I mean,
yes. You have to look for opportunity.
For the person, the right person?
You have to look for anything. It's like when you're riding a bike. If you look at the tree, you're gonna run into the tree.
Okay, true.
Right?
True.
It's like when
Tony
you're riding.
Robbins talks about that driving the car.
When you're riding the bike and you see, like, I'm into mountain biking. It's like, stop looking at the boulder. Oh. Just like past the boulder and you'll go right over it. But when you look at the boulder, then you go, and then over the bars.
Interesting. I could see that because as a kid, I was really good at video games because it was like, and I just kind of went. And then all of a sudden, when you're older, it's like, oh gosh, whoa, caution. Yeah, fear. Fear. Oh, fear. Okay, touche.
So 23 stroke or 22 stroke.
Yep.
23 surgery.
Yep.
Right. Then you went to school.
Yep.
Got your degrees.
Yeah, I didn't get my bachelor's until I was like 27.
Well, I don't even have one, so.
I'm ahead of you.
I will say you probably had the most degrees of anyone that's ever been in this room. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks. That's actually
a little confident booster. So after college, what did you do?
I've worked. I mean.
So how did you meet my boy Ernie? Ernie Ramirez.
Yeah, so he actually worked with me at one of the schools, and he was one of my aides. And so we would work together in my classroom. Ernie, so many burritos and like cookies and donuts. Oh my gosh.
Dude. And then when he's like, yeah, I gotta lose some weight. I'm like, bro, you gotta work on some things.
He's like, here's an apple fritter. And I'm just like, seriously, fine, I'll eat it. Like, what am I supposed to do? Say no to an apple fritter? Come on. Or a breakfast burrito? I'm not crazy. Yeah. And the breakfast burrito is always the size of my arm.
It's not like a little guy.
No. And I mean, I definitely have worked with women where we've gone out to lunch and they're like, what in the actual heck? Like, where do you put that? I'm like, no, I eat it all, but I have to work it off. Like, I look at food and it's like, whoa, stuck. I'm like, no, get off me.
So then you just ride the elliptical every day.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I mean,
every day. I've been seeing the posts.
Yeah. I mean, today went a little hard. I was like, okay, it's going to be a busy day and I'm going to be seated a lot. But also because right now with the pandemic, I'm seated so much. Yeah. And so it's like, it's also my mental break. I don't know how some people don't dedicate a part of the day to themselves and working out. Ooh,
sure.
here's a hit when the gyms were open. This was like probably one of the gnarliest things anybody's ever said to me. I love the sauna. It's my sacred time. And so I went in the sauna, and this lady had the audacity to look at me and go, "Why are you here?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Excuse
Why
me?"
do women go against women so much?
Oh, she wasn't done.
Oh, really?
And I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't understand."
Does she know who you are?
So she said, well, I'm like, do I know this lady? Like, who has the audacity to say something like this? So I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand. She goes, well, you have a perfect body, so I don't understand why you're here. And I said, well, thank you for the backhanded compliment, but I spend my day serving others, and this is the 1 hour where I get to spend time to myself and dedicate 60 minutes of my day to whatever it is that I want to do, and it's not for anybody else, and it keeps me sane. So thank you for interrupting that. Yeah. And she was like, I'm a teacher too. And I looked at her and I said, of course you are.
Of course you are.
Yes.
There's always them.
I said, of course you are.
Of course. Makes sense. So you started teaching. What were you teaching?
So I'm an education specialist. So that's the euphemism for special ed teacher. Just because it can be demeaning to the kids, and it's not intentional, but I think it's a label.
Do you work with like special learning disabilities?
Yeah.
Or do you work with?
It's mild to moderate.
Okay.
So some kids, maybe they're emotionally disturbed and they've been through something extremely traumatic. And it is like secondhand trauma. So when that happens, sometimes they're screaming at you and you just kind of have to look at them and go, is it something that I did? Mm-hmm. Or did something happen before you got here? Oh, something happened before I got here. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if you realize, but you're screaming at me.
Yeah.
So some kids are like that. Some kids are diagnosed with autism. Some kids are other health impairment, like ADHD. I'm sure I'm probably one of those kids that would have been diagnosed with ADHD because I'm like, da, 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 da. Sorry that I can't go in a straight line, everybody. Yeah, so some kids just need support emotionally, and some kids need support with writing and becoming a better writer and learning more words, or maybe even I tell them, when in doubt, Google it out. I'm like, hello, guys, you have Google machine.
Dude, kids have it so easy now.
Yeah, 100%. And then like I always show them how to use the microphone. I'm like,
yes,
guys,
I use the microphone all the time.
Dude, like I talk to my phone all the time because I don't want to sit there and text it out because I'm typing legal paperwork. So I'm essentially their advocate, and I'm the person that fights for them to make sure that they get the services that they need that will help them to succeed academically, which means a lot to me because I have been that student and I was judged harshly for it. I mean, not only did doctors judge me and tell me that I didn't look like I needed anything, but then when I had this note from a brain surgeon saying like, hey, she struggles with retaining new information and memorization. And when I went to the offices of students with disabilities, I mean, the guy was like, why are you here?
Isn't it funny how the system is like against people?
Yeah, but then at Cal State Long Beach, they were angels. They were so nice to me, not
Shout
judgmental.
out to Cal State Long Beach.
Yeah, I did the undie run there.
Yeah.
That was pretty ballsy of me. It took some wine.
Yeah. They say don't drink.
I really don't, but I mean, I had to for that. I needed liquid courage.
Yeah, that a girl.
Yeah.
So you have some great news. You're getting promoted.
Yes. Yeah.
Why don't you tell people about that?
So it's right now, it's essentially an honor just to be told that it's a temporary promotion. One of the girls is going out on maternity leave and she's a program specialist.
So you're going to totally take her spot.
No, she's amazing. She's
sure. That's like the political thing to say.
She's my shero. No, really. Like, I love this woman so much. And she said, all of your hard work is going to pay off. So a lot of teachers don't work like overtime. I have home hospital kids, and these are kids that are too sick to come to school. And most teachers, if they do home hospital, they have like one. Well, I have 3. And before the pandemic, I was tutoring too. So essentially, in the book that you talked about, it talks about anytime an opportunity is offered, you say yes. I feel like yes,
God,
man.
I don't even need to read this book. I always do all these things.
I know, you're like, I want to read this book. I'm like, okay, I'm going to read it before I come visit you.
Jerk.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So
sizing me up on my own podcast. Dang.
Well, it's my 3rd book this week.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, sorry. Audible thinks I'm like ridiculous at this point. They're just like, what is your deal?
They're like, who are you passing this out to?
I know. Yeah, because it does show you how many hours you read a month, and I'm at about like 60 plus.
There you go.
So I don't. I vacuum and I'm listening to books. But yeah, so I mean, it's an honor, and it's essentially again another moment where, and maybe that's why it brought tears to my eyes when you talked about all of these hard things, because you said like, well, what have you done since you finished school? And it honestly feels like all I've really done is work. And before I was done with my master's, I actually had gone to look at doctoral programs, and I thought, I don't know. But then my mom just recently sent me another one. And so I'm like, okay, so this is it. Like, I kind of need to make a decision. Am I going to go doctoral and stay education, or am I going to go second master's and do nursing and put needles in people's faces?
So why don't you explain to people the needles in people's faces?
Yeah. So my sister, her name's Keely. She and Jessica run the skin clinic.
Shout out to them.
Holla! If you need any aesthetic needs, the skin clinic is the place to go.
Where are they located at?
So it's on Brockton here in Riverside. And they brought me in to do, oh my gosh, cryo. I don't know why I blanked. Sorry, story of my life. And so,
brain injury.
Yeah, 100%. No, you know what's really bad? I used to mix and slur my words, and I lost my Spanish like 100%. So that's been like a slow coming back. But I mean, when I actually was having the stroke, I told the guy, and again, I'm working at the bank, and like the little teller machine was there, and he had to slide his card, but I said something else, and he looked at me, the customer looked at me, and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I just don't feel very well." And he's like, "I could tell."
Yeah.
It was just not good. Yeah, so skin clinic, if you want Botox or fillers, they actually just got a CO2 machine. I saw that. Yeah, I'm like, do it under my eyes. Yeah. Make me youthful, please. They also do like the threads. I love it because I'm yes man. So they're like, hey, we need somebody to demo this on or test this. Can you be our model for it? I'm like, yeah, 100%. They're like, it might hurt. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Like, it's not going to be the most painful thing I've been through.
For sure.
So they did the threads, and I was like, whoa, this is gnarly.
What is it? I don't even know what that is.
They essentially like anchor something and then pull your skin. So, but it doesn't stay as long as I thought it was going to stay. I mean, I looked like the cat lady a little bit at first, is what Kelsey, I'm going to shout out to Kelsey at the skin clinic too. Yeah. She's essentially my sister. But yeah, so it's like a non-surgical facelift.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, I would do it again.
She's like, for 2 days of beauty.
No, it lasted months, but I think because I'm so expressive, I think you
ruined it.
Yes, 100%.
You gotta look at,
I know.
Just stop smiling.
Like, literally, I just got my Botox done on December 31st, and I was looking, and I'm like, dude, I gotta go again. Why am I such a monster? And they look at me, and they're like, oh my gosh, we just did this, but they said I metabolize it really fast. So they said
probably working out and all that stuff.
Yes, exactly. And I'm super expressive. So, but they're like, the amount that you need versus other people, they're like, you gotta stop teaching your kids with your face. I'm like, what else am I supposed to do?
They're children.
I'm on a computer.
Yeah.
Well, they're high schoolers. I couldn't do little kids. Like, I did sub for kindergarten one day, and the girl cried and said, I want my teacher.
Yeah. I
would be lying if I didn't tell you the truth. I got down on my knees and I looked her dead in the eyes and I said, I want your teacher too. I really did.
My mentor through high school, he did what you do.
Really?
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Education specialist?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I would TA in his classes, and I like felt so bad for him. It was like so hard. In
which regard? Was it mild to moderate or mild severe?
No. Like, there's a lot of people who have like ADHD or whatever issues at home, so they'd always like be pissed off, storm out, like. Yeah, he'd have to like send, and but he was like one of the best. Like,
and Ernie would help me with that.
He could just like nothing would bother him. You know what I mean? Like, he just he's still one of my really good friends, and I still talk to him all the time. But like, just so moderate. Like, he just retired, like so moderate, and but had like the respect of all the kids.
Yes.
That like. Really, nothing would ever have happened. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nothing would ever have happened. No one would ever have done anything to him.
I did have a kid hit me, not this last year, but the year before.
So you can take a punch.
He was way bigger than me, and he checked me hard, and then he called me. Super sweet.
I know. Nice kids.
Yeah. So, I mean, but when those things happen, and again, it goes back to all these books that I read, like hurt people. So when I do read a lot of books that are about like kids in this situation, and it's so interesting to see how your home environment really has a huge impact. And it is, they say, oh, is it nature versus nurture or nurture versus nature? And the one book, The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog, talks about kids who are neglected and unloved, and they can come from the same family where maybe the life situation was different and the other sibling was loved better, you could say. And they don't do anything wild because they were loved. And then there are other kids who weren't loved, and because of it, their behaviors are impacted and they act out. And like the one example I'm thinking of, like he actually kills a girl. I think he kills 2 girls.
Oh.
I know it's really dark. I'm not saying that everything I read is great, but it is very informative, and I just nerd out like that.
Well, I think people need to realize that that it's having children is like such a huge responsibility.
Yeah. Yes. So that's why I see like there's things that I've been through that I feel like I need to repair before I could ever be in that position.
I think for me, I think the one good thing that like, I was engaged, and if I would have got married at that time in life and then had kids, I would be dealing with so many more issues that now I wouldn't. Now that they wouldn't even be a blimp in my radar. Like we were talking before the podcast, like my wife will never clean a house.
Yeah.
And people go, and I've had people ask me that why. I'm like, because it's like if you guys are both doing, even if she's a stay-at-home mom, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, stay-at-home mom is a full-time job.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's
Right?
the hardest job. You don't get a 15-minute break. You don't get a lunch.
No, you get nothing.
Yeah.
So then to stay at the pack of having to clean a house, right? Like, why?
Yeah, that's
why to take that stress off of someone's plate, because it's going to do 2 things. They're going to get mad at you, for not
resentment
helping out. Yeah, not helping out, right? Or they're stressed out. So it's like take that stress away.
Yes,
that's what people don't get. Money solves every problem.
That's so true, and I think that's why I was like, I want to make sure I'm fully
100%.
established before connecting my caboose to somebody else's train.
Because the stress is that if you can get away from financial stress,
yes,
and other problems that can be fixed by financial things, there's not that much stuff if you pick the right person to bitch about or to fight about.
Yeah, because no matter what, everybody has their own problems.
Everyone's going to have issues, obviously. It's life.
Everybody is
life.
a disaster on some level.
100%.
You have to choose your disaster that you want to be stuck with.
But yeah. But I just think that like so many issues that people face that now in my life, I'm like, that's not even an issue.
I know. I think that's me too. That I definitely hear other people's stuff and I'm like, oh, interesting.
I want to be at the point where like, I remember one time we were going to New York and we were flying out that night. We had no money. I just got fired from baseball.
Oh no.
Dead broke. And we just leased a new car.
Yeah.
Idiots. And she totaled it before we even made the first payment.
Oh my gosh.
And we were flying to New York that night with her sister. And I remember being like, and I just got into real estate, like hadn't sold the deal yet, had like no money coming in, right? And I remember being like, we just totaled a brand new car. And then I'm like, and we're in New York and we have no, like, I'm like thinking to myself, like, okay, when we get back, we got to buy a car. Like,
yeah.
And I was just like, I remember like after
cars.
that, me too. I remember after that, I was like, that problem is not going to be a problem for me in the future.
Yeah.
Right? Like nowadays, if that happens, that's not even a blimp. That's like, you know what? This sucks. You're okay. The insurance will handle it. We'll get you a new car when we get back home. Let's not even worry about this. Let's just have a good time and wherever we're at.
Yeah.
But in that moment, you're like, we have no money.
Yeah.
Now we're going to New York. We can't spend money because we got this car scenario. Yeah. Like it's just things in life that I don't ever want to deal with.
Yeah, no, agreed. I definitely have been at that place in life where I'm just so broke that I couldn't afford food. It's like I had to choose feeding my dog or feeding myself. Yeah. And I mean, maybe that's just part of like the college experience. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe not everybody had that experience. But for me, it was my experience. And that has definitely pushed me to be who I am in the way that I am, because it was like, I'm never going to be in that position again. Like I will. And even in like a bad relationship, because in that situation, I wasn't able to leave because I wasn't financially independent. Mm-hmm. It was like I knew I was going to need help to transition to finish my master's. And it was like, this is not happening in my life. I'm not doing it again.
For sure. And then the problem is you get so deep.
Yeah.
And then it gets harder and harder to get out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and not only like that, but like if somebody's threatening your life and they have like a code phrase for people to come help them hide you.
Yeah.
you know, it's like they say 70% of women don't get out of situations like that alive. Mm-hmm. So just saying, like, do it cautiously and run.
Yeah. You know what? This was a great podcast. Fastest hour that's ever gone by.
It's an hour?
Yeah. We've actually been here for an hour and a half.
Oh.
Yeah. It's already 3:45. So what's something you can leave women on that are facing some issues or are not really happy where they're at right now, or some advice that helped you get through whatever you were going through?
I notice a lot of women reach out to me on my Instagram and they tell me that I'm inspiring them, that they wish that they had a better body. And the truth is they have the ability to have any body that they want, whether they want abs like I have or they don't want abs. It's obviously we all have our flaws and we all have our imperfections, but you can be whoever it is that you want to be. I was told I wouldn't get my education, and I have it. I was essentially told I wouldn't be able to work out again, and I work out all the time. I really think that you have to choose your hard, whether you have to get up at 4 a.m. to accomplish your goals. It's possible no matter what your station in life is. Everything is possible. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, so it's what you make of it. I believe in you. Reach out to me on Instagram and I will encourage you. I love doing that. I love encouraging women and telling them that they can be whoever it is that they want to be. You don't have to stay small and fit in a box. It's okay. I don't. Like, I'm such a dude. So I wish I was cuter. Yeah. Like, you know, we all have our things. That's my thing. Yeah. So.
Well, I appreciate you coming in, telling your story, having a great time. And remember, guys, please share, please like, please subscribe, please comment. And until next time, guys, peace.